G'day and welcome again to another Campfire Project panel discussion. And today, first of all, I have with me Heather Joy Bassett, who is a personal and business coach, best-selling author and international speaker. G'day, Heather.
Hey, everyone. Great to be here.
And we've got Jonathan Callinan, who is a co-founder of Online Business Accelerator from New Zealand. How are you, Jonathan?
Good, fantastic. Now that I'm touched up on Zoom, I'm feeling pumped, buddy. I really appreciate you having me on as well. Thank you.
Excellent. And we have Scott Carson, the founder of the Sunday Session. How are you, Scott?
Yeah, good, thanks. I'm looking forward to getting in the conversation today. And I'm a bit with Jonathan. I can't believe there's a touch-up button and I'm in. Sad thing is I've been using it already. I turned it off and geez, it was scary.
If everybody knows what we're talking about, Zoom has got a button where you can touch up. We believe it's for if you've got poor lighting, so you can improve the picture. But we've been looking at whether it's improved our looks. I've been playing around with it this morning. We try to get serious on the Campfire Project. It just doesn't happen. Okay.
But we all agreed to use it though. That's how
we all agreed it was a better you, so we just went for it.
Yes.
We did that for the audience as well, more than ourselves. So everybody out there in the Campfire Project, you should be very thankful for what we've just done.
Well, I just want to big kudos to John Hope too, because I reckon he'll be using it.
Yeah.
This is the best version of us today, isn't it?
Yes,
It is the best version of us today.
absolutely.
It's probably a good thing having it all after when we first start, because the subject we were looking at today is the timely connection between physical health, mindset, and emotional well-being. And I think that, after they say, laughter is the best medicine. So, Jonathan, would you like to start us off on the conversation today?
Yes, absolutely, buddy. No idea where I'm going to start, but I think after that introduction, but look, I think today I was just wanting to, obviously I've got touch in my head now, touch on physical health and how that's kind of like, the pinnacle really of health, and how it sort of underpins, our mental, emotional and spiritual health. And I think probably the best way to kind of, use analogy is to sort of backtrack a little bit and give you a bit of a story around that. And when I was at university, I was 17 years old, I had two of my best friends. One was just a fantastic guy, just, talked and acted from his heart all the time, very popular in our uni halls. And then I had another friend that was more of a competitive sports type football guy, and again, lovely guy. So these were two of my best friends in my circle at the time. And within a week of each other, they both passed away, and one with a full on car, head on collision. And then one just dropped down. The guy that was playing football just dropped on the sports field, didn't get up again, had meningitis. So for me at that time as a 17-year-old, that wasn't particularly healthy physically. And, the first year of university, you're learning your way in life, you're drinking a lot and doing a lot of stuff you shouldn't. That really smacked me out of the ballpark, hit me for six. And I went into this sort of spiral of mild depression, hypochondria, paranoia, all of that. And it was just sort of for a couple of weeks, I thought, well, it'll pass, because, there's a lot of stuff going on around me. But I actually really spiraled, and it took about 3 years for me to get out of it. And I mean, literally just going to the doctors thinking my fingers were growing and abnormal and everything was going on. Anytime I had a cough or an itch or an ache, I thought something was serious, So, and what I realized that it was a lot to do with my physical health, because it really got me into looking into sort of fitness and health and looking after the body and what we're putting into it in terms of, nutrition, and how we're looking after us, our physical being. And I became this real sort of fitness freak for about 3-4 years, at that time. And mentally, the mist just lifted, and slowly got out of the bathtub, with the whole, if people go down that spot, you know what I'm talking about, but you get out of the bathtub and you feel like you're on top of it again. And ever since then, pretty much everything I've done in life has been sort of underpinned by physical well-being, just looking after myself physically. I've run multiple companies, but the one constant factor is that I've always done something that's physical, whether it's in personal training, whether it's running, whether it's classes, whether it's outside, just enjoying some vitamin D and doing some training in the park or whatever. But that's become an absolute staple. And for me, it's the bottom of the pyramid in terms of health, and, you know, everything else kind of intertwines with that. So yeah, that's where I would start.
Often say that you know, what you're thinking about is going to affect your health, and that in this case you were using the activity of health to change your mindset in the other direction. So it's showing a definite connection between the two, and well, which one comes first?
Yes, exactly. Well, that's very true. For me, it was definitely physical. Health came first, but you know, because I couldn't think clearly, and when you're in that, you know, that sort of that dark sort of space where you just want to lie in a room and listen to sad music, your mindset can't function. You know, you can't expand your mind. Your mind's actually shutting down. So for me, it was literally just getting, you know, at the time, just getting to the gym and just doing some sessions, and really just kind of, that was just a way to oxidate the brain and just take, you know, my mind off everything that was going on. So for me, I'm a massive advocate of physical health being, you know, right there at the top, and everything else kind of being interconnected, but also sort of filtering from it.
Excellent. And I'll put, while he's blowing his nose, I'll put Scott on the
Sorry.
Appreciate it, Scott.
Scott, you run the Sunday session, which is taking men out. They go for a run, and you know, you've noticed a lot of connection between their state of mind and the physical activity they're getting as well.
Yeah, it's huge. Like, and what's interesting for me, like I like to run, and at the moment I've got a few things I've got going on. You know, I'm still growing. I'm still learning my place in life. I've got a lot of new opportunities. Now I'm trying to change direction in what I'm doing. So I've got a lot of emotional stuff going on, you know, just financially to change everything. It's difficult. So I carry my emotion in my hips. At the moment, I'm struggling to run. And so the emotional health of me gets carried in my body, and it stops me from doing the physical training. Like, you know, you got a guy who likes to run a minimum of 50 Ks a week. and I'm running probably 15 Ks a week at the minute and in pain. It's the connection between everything is just so real, because, which is funny, because on the other side of it, a lot of guys that come down and actually do the Sunday sessions, which is a walk, jog, or run, the benefits inside that for themselves are huge. You know, you start your day off really well. You do something for yourself. You go home to your family with a smile on your face, rather than waking up grumpy and, you know, on a Sunday morning hungover. That physical exercise and being around each other and being able to have a discussion about anything you want. You don't have to talk about anything, but it's just getting that done. Jesus starts the week off right, you know? So
yeah,
I did a one-on-one yesterday with John, and I mucked it up and it really popped up, but and I keep saying it on the campfire, it takes about 50 minutes for the true gold to come out of something, you know, when you get to know somebody, because you're getting to know each other, you're working through things. And yesterday's gold was just, he runs the hiking society, and his dream is that the NDIS, which is the government service here, which supports mental health and all sorts of different opportunities, actually gives you 10 passes to go hiking as part of your well-being package. Instead of seeing a psychologist straight away, you go and spend time in nature with people, and you work on your physical and mental well-being just by doing something, you know. And it was fascinating, and I hope people get to watch it, because I'd never thought of that. Like, what an amazing thing to do for that. So yeah,
I'm totally with you, buddy. And I think if you think about, you know, our physical well-being as the vessel for our spirit or soul, or, you know, whatever, however you want to term that and look at it, and you're not looking after that vessel, then, you know, that's, there's only one way, isn't there? And that's decay, perishing, you know, sort of decline mindset, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I love that story that you shared, that, you know, these getting them out in nature, connecting with source, and, you know, getting the heart working, getting the actual organs, the vital organs, exercising them, because people think, oh, we're just exercising, you know, our body. No, you're exercising everything. You're exercising your mind. You're exercising the vital organs. You're training your body to be more efficient at intaking and exhaling, you know, taking in oxygen, exhaling carbon dioxide. So, you know, you're doing all of those things, and everything is lifting around you. It's like your whole vibration of energy changes when you're doing that. And that's where sort of, helps the mindset.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because it really troubles me speaking about it at the minute, but I keep talking about my wife's accident, but it was a catalyst for a lot of happening in my life. And I worry that I talk about it too much, because it's, you know, I don't want her to be defined as that, because she's just an amazing human being. Like she's amazing. But during that period, when I started training for Ironman, now I'd never swum before. I got in the pool, 25-meter pool, you know, go down there, swim. What are you here for? I said, I've got to learn to swim. So he goes, jump in, swim 25 meters. I smash my hand on the side of the pool. I get to the end of the pool. Coach goes, what are you here for? I said, I'm going to do Ironman in 6 months. And the laugh that came out of him, I'll never forget. Like, anyway, I stuck with it, stubborn, truly stubborn in it. But I know if I didn't train for that Ironman, I didn't do that. That was my grace. That was my time. That, you know, we had a lot of different stuff going on. You know, we lost all our money. We, you know, had to sell our house. We had to, you know, it was just really heavy time. If I didn't have that training perspective, there's no way I would have got through that. It was about me being able to support me so I could support my family.
Yeah, it becomes a healthy addiction, doesn't it? Which is, I'd probably say, you know, looking after your body and your physical well-being is probably one of very few healthy addictions you can have in life.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward about having a balance between everything, but really there's a permanent connection between what we think, what we feel, our physical health, thoughts we have create different chemicals, which therefore affect different organs of the body. And so everything's connected, but it's just being not so much having a balance between it, because balance is a flat line. It's a case of being aware of the connection between them all the time, and knowing if you're down in one area, use the others to help bring that area back up again. Yeah,
you're right, Alan. And even like the more you train and the more physically sort of well that you are, and the more, like you say, those connections, it strengthens those connections. So, you know, you can listen to your body, you can listen to your gut intuition more, and you can act on it. But if you're in a sluggish, unhealthy vessel, then you're vibrating on such a low frequency that you can't listen to yourself and you can't act, intuitively. So, you're totally disconnected from source, if you like. So that connection thing is massively important.
And how about you, Heather?
Loving the discussion so far. And we started at the start walking, laughter is the best medicine. Having been a podiatrist, I would say walking is the best medicine, or Hippocrates said that way back. But also walking is only the best medicine if you're wearing the right shoes, because otherwise you just do more and more damage. So again, as you said, it's flow. Having been a world champion athlete, I've pushed my body to the limits, and I've had that addiction that Jonathan talked about, that healthy addiction. But there are times when people use exercise as a way to avoid lots of things as well. And so it is getting that flow, because, being on the golf course because it's good for me that I'm avoiding my family, or, running the extra miles and pushing my body till you can't feel anything, because there's a lot of times we use exercise to not feel. So having that flow between where we have all of it and is, finding our way through that. So, and there are times when if we don't stop, the universe will stop us. So for me, it was last year, I was going and going and going, and literally I crashed in Las Vegas. I was there on a speaking, and I tripped and fell. Now, I'd only taken 2 steps in a hotel room, but something happened, and it was like I smashed to the ground, like the whole universe came behind me and just shoved me down. I landed so hard, I was in shock for hours. I was in pain. I've ended up, it brought forward my need for two knee replacements. And it was like there were a couple of other things that happened before, and I wasn't listening. So that sometimes it's a very fine line between that exercise, that activity, and then the world just says, no, stop. So even with talking about sluggish and stuff, my inner knowing is that going into those dark spaces and really slowing down is actually part of the journey. And if we don't make it wrong, we don't actually make it wrong and go, oh, this is the time to really come in, to really look at what is important to me. Where do I really want to go? I think, again, there's absolute gold in there, and often it's made wrong. It's like, oh, depression, you've got to get out of it, and you've got to fix it, and you've got to. And I'm like, there is day and there is night, there is light, there is dark, there is high vibration, there is low vibration. And again, having been at that high vibration, when you're an elite athlete continually training, then there is no time to like, whoa, just come back. So my experience of it, it's just not black and white. It is finding that grey and that grace to be still, to come within as well. And I agree with everything else that's been said as well.
Yeah, and that's a really good point in that. Yeah, you can get out there and you go, okay, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get fit. You go to the gym and you go to the gym. I think there's a bit of a check-in time to go, okay, everything else is connected. So how's everything else running as well? Where are my thoughts at the moment? Am I balanced in that? Am I moving away from something? So we use the physical health to help get our mind right, but also then when we're doing the physical health, make sure that our mind is still right and do that check-in. So that we're not using one thing, as Heather has said, to hide or put a mask over everything else, shove everything else in the drawer and just focus on that and going, hey, I'm looking after my health because everyone says I've got to look after my health, I'm doing the right thing. And then you go, well, what about the rest of your life? What about the way you're thinking? Are you just putting all your time into that?
I don't know about the mind right and wrong. I think, again, that's very lineal, black and white. Again, you know, to deeply explore life is to experience it all. So yeah, I'm not quite on that same trajectory.
It's not actually, well, this is the semantics of the words. It's not so it's, you know, good and bad or things like that. It's, you know, what would you prefer? You know, are you denying things that are going, you know, yes, you're going to be working on your health to the point you get, you know, so radical about it that you push your body to a point that it finally breaks down as well, because you're using that as a guard to stay away from the things you didn't want to think about. And so you're camouflaging it. So it's a matter of going, well, what is the connection between the two? Am I using this to improve the combination of everything else, or am I using it to mask everything else?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, both of you, like totally right in your own sort of perceptions at the end of the day. I think, you know, with exercise stuff, you've just got to be aware of when it's becoming a crutch, right, Heather? And, you know, I know your situation's a little bit different to most people because you're elites, and that's what you do day in, you were doing day in, day out. So you probably had a bit of a different perception to, say, someone that's just unhealthy right now and needs to, you know, get physically well. But I think there's obviously a fine line between it being positively, you know, influential on your life and then becoming an escapism and a crutch to get away and run away from stuff and avoid family and conflicts and, things that we don't like. But at the same time, I think as a starting point, it's really about respecting yourself. When you sort of start to physically think about your body as the temple, but you start thinking about all health starts physically. You go through this level of respect, and you start respecting your physical well-being. Then you start respecting what you're putting into your body through nutrition, and then you start respecting your mindset and your thoughts and your negative trash that's holding you back from what you want to, where you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to aspire to do. But so I think it has this real positive sort of domino effect up the pyramid, if you like, in those different sort of aspects of health. But I definitely take on board, when you can skew very easily in the physical side of things as well. So it's just it's that level of awareness. And I
think for me it'd be a case of, well, here's what I'm doing physically, supporting the other areas, or is it separating me from the other areas? And that's where I talk about being, for me, being the good and the bad. For me, to be separated from everything would be bad, not in line with where I want to be, but being connected to it all, well, that's what I see as being the good. It's the semantics of the words.
Yeah, this is really interesting for me, because one thing I've learned inside the Campfire Project and from Angela Heiser about working with your emotions, and excuse me, I'm a bit dusty today. I'm pushing too hard at the minute. Yeah, I'm the moment my community needs me, and I'm stepping up, and I'm pushing too hard, and you can hear it. My voice is going, my nose is running. My physical well-being is getting trashed a bit, But it's there's no wrong and right emotion, and that's been something that's been a really big kicker for me. And to learn to sit in your emotions, no matter what they are, and just understand them, it's vital to everything for me. It's just accepting that they are, then allows you to do other things. Because if your emotional well-being is not, it's just stagnates you completely. And so where I'm going with this is, I'm someone who pushes the pendulum pretty far out. I'll go as far as I can, and then I'm lucky that I've got people in my community that grab me and pull me back in. Because, like I did a ultra marathon with a broken foot, and I started it with a broken foot, broken metatarsal on my left foot, because I wanted to understand how much pain I could handle. I wanted to find out.
Bit extreme.
But, yeah, maybe. But it's my whole life's been based around pain, because I think pain's the best thing we can go through. Get through the other side of that, then the gold happens. Like I'm 31 Ks into a 56K run through the hills. All of a sudden my foot goes numb, and I'm like, oh, how good's this? I can start running. And it's just, but it was an emotional attachment. And I used all my pain in my life to get me to that point. Like I've talked about the cookie jar, and I keep telling them I'm going to put it up one day when I learn how to use the computer properly. I'm getting there. When you use your emotions, it can be some of the best fuel to do some of your best physical events, which will push you further. So the connection between it all is just, it's so pivotal, you see guys like Kerwin Ray at the minute, and he's in the best physical position he's ever been. He's also in the best mental position he's ever been, but he's also doing the best he's ever done successfully in business. So for me, it's an all-encompassing thing.
So can I throw in, I love that that's your experience, and I'm also going to invite in, being a podiatrist, for a whole bunch of other people, do not go out there and run with your broken bones. So I can't just let one sit there. And I could go into all the reasons why. But as you say, pain, it is really looking at the gift of pain, because people who have numbness or numbiness, can't really feel things, constantly are at risk of creating other people, creating other things. Like a friend of mine who's paraplegic just broke her leg, and again, there's no pain there. So pain is the thing that prevents, can also is there to let us know that is the edge, that not to continue that. So that's that really very fine line. And there's someone who created those some of the barefoot running shoes. And barefoot running shoes come around about every 15 years or so. And it's a great thing, supposedly. But one of the guys who's created them, he runs and gets stress fractures every time. But that's not advertised. Now, those stress fractures cause ongoing issues. So even though the bone is stronger, then you get to the point you can't do that. And I was playing in my first tour overseas when I was 18, and I just kept having more and more pain. So they would shove in more and more medication that was approved. Then I ended up on one crutch, which created the problem, on the other one. And I came back, and it wasn't until I came back that I thought, yeah, I had stress fractures in both fibulas. That the doctor on charge just kept pumping them out. Now, the thing is, that was my body just going, enough. This is not working. Something's off kilter. Something's not aligned here. But that wasn't taken care of that way. So the pain is absolutely, there are times when it's something that you can push through. And there are some times where it is your body just going, stop, listen, stop, listen. And at first what it does, and again, especially having been a podiatrist, people would come in, and I know the story because it was like, your big toe would say, hello, not very comfy here. And you don't listen. So then it's like, hello. And it would just get louder until it's going, hello, what the fuck? And so by the time people come in, it was literally because that big toe was screaming in there, before we listen. And then of course there's much more complications. If the pain had been addressed at the start, then we would have been able to say right at the start, yeah, you're wearing shoes size too small. Let's fix that, and then go run. So yeah, again, there's always those two sides, and the many shades and perspectives in between.
There's so much to think of, isn't there? Because you're talking about the connection that we have between our mindset, our physical body, our emotions, and everything else. But we've not only got that in the moment, we also got the all of that over time. So what actually builds up? As I say to people, if you want to look up the word, the title "crash test dummy" in the dictionary, you'll find my photo in next to it, because my body's been through it. Dislocated left knee 7 times, broken bones, broken wrists, cracked vertebrae. I've knocked my body around a hell of a lot. And yes, at my age now, getting towards 70, I'm feeling it all.
Doesn't matter, Al. We got Zoom touch up. But what I was...
How long have you been waiting for that?
I've been waiting for that. That's taken 40 minutes, but I've waited patiently. I've waited for the precise moment to deliver that knockout blow. I just wanted to say, actually, seriously, with what Heather's saying, like you're talking about pain and gain, and Scott as well. And, coming from Les Mills, there's no, gain without pain, platitudes and all that. But everyone's perceptions of pain and gain is different as well. That's something we've got to bear in mind. Some people, will run with, those those fractures you were talking about, Heather, that's gone out of my head. Those, slight fractures. Sorry? Stress fractures. Thank you for coming in with the life raft there. Appreciate it, mate. The stress fractures, people will, they'll run with that. And I know professional athletes do that. And professional footballers, will go through pain as well. But just personally speaking, I was crippled with sciatica for about a year. And this just came on because I just get out and run because I'm lazy. I just need to get out and run. If I have to go to a gym, it's too much effort. If I have to take a towel and have a shower, it's too much effort. I don't have time for it. While I'm running, I can just get up and go out the door. And I've been doing that as I sort of touched on earlier, about 10 years. And then suddenly my right knee started to kind of really just sort of jam, get really sore, and that spiraled into sciatica for about a year. And when you've had it for that long, you kind of go, okay, well, this is it. I've got to manage sciatica now for the rest of my life. And this may not be something that's totally aligned with you, Heather. I don't know. Maybe it is. But I went to see a chiropractor and had a biomechanical gait scan to see what both sides were doing, how that was impacting through the knees, the hips, the spine, all working together. And basically what transpired was my right foot was rolling and my left foot was just slamming the ground when I was just normally walking. So of course, if you translate that into running, you're compounding that movement, and that's why that opposite knee pain was occurring. So what they did for me was they created 2 custom orthotics based out of that scan. And now I have, as I'm standing right now, I rarely sit. I do sit sometimes, but for kind of energy purposes and just kind of for comfort, I stand in these custom orthotics. And the sciatica, literally, I know I sound like one of these golden boy testimonials, but literally the sciatica just disappeared. I think it must have been a 3-week process of just using them. And I had custom orthotics for my running, custom orthotics for my shoes as well, different types. And that emotional release when you kind of think something that you're going to live with for the rest of your life just disappears is incredible, because it affects you in everything. If you've had sciatica, you walk like you've just been shot from behind, and you when you're driving, you get these spasms and you have to put your leg across the car and stuff. It's just horrible. And of course you can't run, you can't exercise like that. So to have that for that, so that was my massive gain. And if someone comes to me and goes, yeah, I know, but you know what, this is actually probably not right for you and you shouldn't be wearing these all your life, I'm going to go, do you know what, I'm happy, I'm out of pain, I can run, I can do all that. Maybe not, but that's my perception of gain versus where I was.
I think that's I love that you've shared that. And even though I was a podiatrist, doctor cannot heal thyself. And I was having a lot of issues, and then I went and saw a friend, had a biomechanical assessment, got my orthotics, ran 5Ks for the first time without any pain getting my orthotics. So I'm a massive fan. And one of the things that I noticed, as a podiatrist, all these people who want to get fit, so again, they've been in that sluggish phase, and everyone's like, go and walk, it's the best medicine. But if you've got a word that I use, an unstable foot, or your feet aren't aligned, even though I don't like that aligned thing, you don't have the right shoes, then walking is not going to be the best medicine, because you're going to have a whole lot of problems. And often people, this is my experience, a lot of people who don't have what's called neutral feet. So some feet roll in too much, some feet roll out too much, and then you have a neutral foot. If you've got a neutral foot, you can walk to Timbuktu and back and do anything, and unless you land on something, you're not going to get any damage. But if you've got a foot that's too rigid or too flexible, then you are going, if you've got a rigid foot, then you risk getting the fractures and things like that if you push it too much without the right foundation, which is orthotics and shoes. And if you've got a foot that's too flexible, then you're going to get the plantar fasciitis, you're going to get the heel pain. So one of the things that I've experienced is a lot of people who end up not being very active have shit feet. Now, they're perfect feet, they're your feet, they're designed for you, but they don't work as well. And then how can we make them work better, which is orthotics? And what I liken orthotics to is, if my eyes don't work very well, I put glasses on, because they make my eyes work better. If my feet don't work very well, then I wear orthotics and the right sort of shoes that are fit the way my foot works. Then I have a very stable foundation of which to take off on. And a lot of people, there's a lot of, oh, orthotics are bad or orthotics are good. If you've got a flat foot, for a lot of people, then it's like laying down and having to get up. That takes a huge amount of energy, a huge amount of resources to get going. But if you're sitting on a bar stool and you want to take off, it takes no energy. It's just easy to go forward. And a lot of people with their kids, they'll come in flat feet. Nah, it's not a problem. I'm like, it's like every step they lay down and got to get up off the ground. And then, some other health professionals say, no, you don't need orthotics. And I was just like, okay, then that means if we're walking, I'm walking beside someone who's got flat feet, then they're doing 20 kilometers for every 5 kilometers I'm doing, energy wise. So, and that makes sense. And then if you've got that asymmetry, one side is different to the other, and no one has two sides the same. If that disparity is increased, which is what's just happened with my knee replacements, I've got one side much shorter now than the other. And I only realized that when I looked at the x-rays the other day, that my body is out of whack from my surgery. If you don't even things up, get that asymmetry, then you're going to have more and more issues, and then you get compensatory gait, which is an avoidance thing, which leads to more things. So again, Scott, have you seen a podiatrist?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I might have to come and see you. I'm scared for you to look at my feet. But it's one of the things I speak to the guys about.
Well, hang on. I just need to say one thing. I'm still passionate about podiatry after 40 years. I don't actually practice now because I'm coaching. But I'm happy to chat about it.
Well, you've just saved yourself a whole heap of pain with my feet. But one of the things I talk to the boys about is, when you come down, what shoes have you got? And it's funny because I've actually got, and you might know the company, Heather, Foot Pro in Melbourne. I suggest that guys go to see them, because when you are doing any form of training, your feet are your pillars. That's your strength. It's the foundation of your house. For a bit. Struggling today too, Jonathan, don't worry. So you want us to make sure the support's there. So just getting your feet right, just to walk, makes a massive difference to the pressure on your body. And I work with a few different chiros, and the less impact you can have on the rest of your body by having your feet structurally right is huge. Because that's another way of putting stress onto you. Like one of the big things for me is when I have people come into my life that are just, either numbing themselves or they've just got opportunities. One of the big things inside them is their physical presence, right? And I always say to people, especially guys that are suicidal, right? I try to flip their mindset. Guys, I understand you're under emotional pressure. I can feel it, but I can also see it. You wear it physically. So one of the things we do is I'll pick up a guy, I'll take him down to the chiropractor. We'll have a chat in the car on the way. And when we get to the couple of chiropractors I got in my life, they'll sit there and they'll adjust. They'll look at the neuro pathways in the back, and they'll just release just that little tiny bit of pressure. But it releases a lot of emotional pressure because I'm not just mentally out of whack, I'm physically out of whack. So it takes them out of their headspace for that second. So having the physical structure right and supported by your foundations, your feet, it's so damn important, and I just, correct shoes is like Oscar's got flat. One foot's really flat. And it's, his shoes cost me a bloody fortune. But for that reason of the flat foot taking up the energy, the difference in him from when I got the orthotics put in and actually getting the right shoe, getting that measured up, it's huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah, everything flows through. It's a connection of, you're looking at the fact that the not only will you say, well, if you go looking to go down into the podiatrist, get your shoes checked out, make sure that's right as well. That's also working on your mental state at that time, because while you're doing that, you're putting a focus on yourself. So everything's connected. And, if you're going out there, I've got to get fit because, I want to get away from things, and you're going to be disconnected from everything else. If you go, right, I want to get fit, but okay, as Heather's pointed out, make sure you've got your foundation right as well. What fits one person is not going to fit everybody.
Mm.
You mentioned the term, Jonathan, no gain without pain. Now, that is correct in some circumstances, but not in others. If I'm talking about, and as Scott will attest to this as well, if you want to grow from where your mindset's out, it's the stuff that you go through, because you don't move forward by staying still and being just in a single state. When you extend yourself, you go through a bit of emotional pressure and everything like that. So there's a bit of pain there. But when we use the word pain, depending on the person who's listening to us, it depends on where they're at, whether they're taking that as physical pain or whether they're taking that or understanding where your pain is. So we too often jump in and say, the pain, putting yourself through pain, it's not good, because then they're talking about body. We could be talking about mind. So it's a matter of having that chat and going, okay, tell me about this gain that you get out of the pain that you have. What sort of pain are you talking about? And start to have that conversation, because in that conversation as well, people are connecting with you. They feel like they're being understood. That changes their emotional state as well.
Yeah, certainly, I totally agree. And just wanted to add to something that Scott was saying as well about, the pain and the emotional health. Well, we store emotional pain in our body anyway, and that manifests itself physically. So that's where the whole, two-way connection, links up. But with what you were saying there, Al, about, there isn't one size fits all, and kind of come back to what Heather was saying as well about the flat foot guy, his sort of flat foot running. I liken that to, and Al knows this because he's part of our No Fluff marketing community, and so is Scotty. But I liken it to what we say about these gurus online right now that are going, look at me, I'm amazing, look at my Ferrari, take my 12-week program and become me. And like that's just basically saying that everyone that's going to buy your 12-week program is in exactly the same position as you, has exactly the same desires, the same fears, is basically wanting to become a clone of you. And they don't know about the fact that you've probably, I don't know, been in jail maybe, who knows, but hopefully not. But, or you've been bankrupt, or you've had these problems, or you've had these issues. All we're seeing is that 10%, that iceberg at the top of the iceberg. And yet you're selling this to people. And that's why I have a massive problem, as you know, Al, with gurus selling programs like that, because it's inauthentic and it's totally ignorant of people's situation. And it's exactly what you were saying about the flat, you can't just put flat foot shoes into everyone's, people are going to have a multitude of health issues because everyone's body is differently, and everyone's spine, performs differently depending on the structure of their feet, So it's funny how this all just kind of interconnects, and you can even bring in marketing to it. But personal life.
I love that. One of the things I need to come back, because it's like, okay, speak it. So one of the things with podiatrists spend 4 years just studying feet. And I love working with chiros because they spend their time doing the whole body, and the focus for podiatrists is on the foot. And we still do the rest of the body, but it's like, there's someone else who's going to look after that part of it. But one of the things that, and that's not a but, I put a but in there, I don't know what that come from. So one of the things often with people with feet that aren't optimized is they get called lazy as kids. And they get called lazy because it's so much harder for them. As I was saying, like we're walking, and I'm walking 50 meters if I've got my orthotics on. And the person next to me, it's like they've walked 5 kilometres. And the amount of parents who come in with kids and they literally cuff one over the other one. This one's just lazy, and it would drive me insane, because it's like this. People are often like categorized and put into that block, and then they become that. So when I see adults who aren't moving, I'm like, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised that you're not moving. And then, so yeah, please get your feet checked out with podiatrist. It's powerful stuff. And then one of the things, I don't know whether you heard of, we're talking about getting into nature. In Japan, Medicare, I'm told, I don't know this, but I'm told Medicare covers you to go and walk in nature. To actually, it's part of a recognized treatment. And another thing, we were talking about feelings and emotions, is I've done some walk around the anger, sadness, fear, and joy, the 4 primary emotions. And anger, there's more and more evidence that anger is bones. So anger is stomping. So when you're really angry, it's stomping. It's doing that and stomping. Not hitting walls or anything like that. But if you want to move anger through you, being discerning and the time and place and stuff, but it's bones. And then sadness is soft tissue. So sadness is like the curling up and the movement of curling up and going into that fetal position thing. Whereas fear, because that's soft tissue, and fear is in the central nervous system. So fear is shaking. So if you look at a deer that has been chased and got away from a lion, it then stands there and shakes. It does this shake thing, and then it just it's all gone, and then it just peacefully, calmly just goes back to eating grass. So and then joy, of course, is just being exuberantly dancing around the place. So that can be a cool tip to play with, when it's like, what am I feeling, and then what is the body response around that.
Well, as I say, every thought creates a chemical reaction, and those chemicals are going to affect different organs. So I know that if you're feeling insecure, it'll hit the skin. This is where you get psoriasis and rashes and things. Anger will, or what do you call it, resentment will be the kidneys, and the liver will also be affected with the anger side of things. So, and if everyone says, well, how does that work? Well, think about it. You go to a doctor and you've got an issue, say with your liver, they give you a pill for your liver. They don't give you one for your kidneys, because the pills are all designed to work with different organs. Every organ's got a different structure. It's the same thing with your thoughts. The thoughts you have are going to affect different parts of your body. So again, if you have got issues that are coming up, find that connection between them. As a massage therapist, I used to use Annette Noontil's book, which was The Body is the Barometer of the Soul. And it talks about all the different parts of the body and the connections. And I found that when people came in with issues, I also did NLP process with them first of all, and then use the massage to anchor everything afterwards with aromatherapies and colour and sound. And every time we started talking, talking about their injuries, and then we start talking about their issues, I could see the connection very closely to what Annette's book said. But also, as you said before, Jonathan, about the everything being held in the body. When I was doing my massage training, we did what they call myofascial release, which is a very slow massage where you just move the skin very slowly to get all those chemicals. The fascia is that little grey stuff you see on a piece of meat in the butchers, and it's designed to stop the muscles that run over each other, splintering each other. And that's where the chemicals get held. So when you push really slowly, you release it. Now, when I did my training, my wife was away and she was the aromatherapist of the course. And I started talking to her on the phone. I was in massive tears. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't figure out why. And she said, well, what's happened today? I said, well, we've done the myofascial release. And she said, well, that shouldn't have been, it could have been a bit of an effect, but this seems to be excessive. And I said, well, I had 2. There were 3 of us. And so I was the subject for both of the others to massage. So I got massaged twice. So I got through this process twice. So all this stuff I've been holding for all these years, and most of it I hold in my shoulders and my back, was released. That went back into the blood supply. And where does the blood supply go? It goes through every organ, including your brain. So I refelt all those emotions without knowing where it came from. So it's incredible what the body actually stores inside.
Yeah.
It's fascinating that, because I try and get a massage once a week, and in the minute I'm not getting it, so my hips are tighter than usual. And like the gorgeous woman that does my legs, she uses orange blossom on my hip, which releases I am fascinated about how much interconnection there is with all our emotions and physical well-being. But I love learning about different opportunities, because there is no one shoe fits all. It doesn't happen. So you've got to keep trying things until something works, you know. And it's like, I'm not anti-medical, because I think they do an amazing job of rebuilding bodies that, you know, just shouldn't be rebuilt, but they get it done and they do it so well. But I am anti-pharmaceutical when there's other alternatives.
Yeah, when that's the solution they can only come up with, that's the problem.
Correct. And I just, you know, and I'm really loving learning all this. Like, as much as I'm getting involved in life and I'm doing as much as I can, I'm consistently learning. And I'm going to plug the Campfire, right? Now I do the Thursday night lives. Love it. My growth in listening to people and learning from people is huge. No, there's no different to today, you know, reiterating the podiatry, looking at my feet going, I need to go. Shit.
do it, Scotty. Do it. Get out there. Do it.
Yeah, it was just like you today, Jonathan. You're standing there, and I'm sitting in my chair, and I'm going, you know what? I could probably set up my office better. I could probably raise my computer. Let's start walking around a bit more.
Yes.
So getting involved, taking action on something, that's where you get your emotional benefits. That's where you get your physical benefits. Just take action.
Can I just say, Al, you've just reminded me to reconnect with my myofascial massage therapist as well. So thanks for that, because she, when I was in my personal training days, she would do similar stuff to what you were describing there. She used to use knuckles, elbows, and palms and all sorts of things. But what's interesting is, like, because we run a website, the Wellness Directory, and I think there's 10 different versions of massage therapy on there. So as you were saying, Scotty, you know, everything's right. Everything's good. I mean, you can go for a massage massage session, a Swedish massage therapy, you know, which is just basically a general kind of feel good, not too feel good, but, you know, just a feel good massage of the muscles. And, you know, further you go down, then you get, like, I was talking, you know, remedial massage therapy and myofascial massage therapy. You know, that's where all the toxins and everything and all the, you know, the energy and the stress and everything that we've been holding gets released. And that's where we get the real endorphins. But, you know, it's just really interesting, because it's like, even in the natural health industry, you know, there's almost like a bit of a, well, I don't like to call it a rabbit hole, because I kind of have a negative connotation with the idea of rabbit hole, but it is when you get into it. And as I know Al and Heather, probably you guys as well, will testify, you know, there's so many kind of different ways and so many fantastic modalities out there, you know, for natural health, and just basically encouraging the body to do what it was meant to do, which is, you know, heal itself as well to a degree.
But it's also important, if you know, and I apologise to everybody out there, if we're talking about massage, everyone's now thinking, I've got to get to, you know, I really want a massage. Well, while they're in lockdown, it's pretty hard to get that massage. You can't do that from distance, you know, physical distancing. So, but when you do, if you're going to go and go, okay, I'm going to get all this, you know, all these toxins out of my body, then we're back to where we started before. What's your mindset at that stage? Because, as I said, I didn't know what was happening when I had that massage, and I cried like a baby. It was ridiculous. I just going, what the hell is wrong with me?
Maybe it's not ridiculous. Maybe we just put in how beautiful it is.
Yeah, but you know, at the time I'm thinking, well, this is absolutely insane. Why am I crying? I can't understand this. And that was giving me stress. Until I spoke to my wife. She was away in Queensland doing a prac work for a dietetics degree, and she said, "Oh, you know, stop and think about it." She said, "What was the whole idea of this? It was to remove the toxins out from the." And she said, "Where do you reckon that went?" And I went, "Oh, the only way it moves out is back through the blood supply." And she said, "Where did the blood supply go through? What organs?" what's the main one you're thinking with at the moment? I hope, she says. And
Also,
I went, oh, the brain. She goes, yeah, you're going to refeel everything of all that stuff. And because there wasn't an event happening at the time, there was no conscious connection as to why I felt that way. Where was it coming from? So if you're going to go and do something like that, think about all the other areas as well. What's your mindset going to be? If you're going to go and get a myofascial release and you've had a lot of stress you've built up over the years and everything else, make sure you've got someone you can talk to. Have it already prepared. Think about the connection between all of those things. Because as you said, Scott, with the, what was it, the honey blossom or whatever oil that they were using on your hips, remember it's also the smelling of it. It's not only going into the skin and doing its work in there, it goes in through, because you're smelling it, and that goes in your olfactory. That's an immediate hit to the brain. It's the fastest thing that'll hit. As soon as you smell, say, a flower that reminds you of something when you were a kid, all those memories come flooding back. So all of those things are going to trigger. Everything's connected. So in finishing this off, because we're running out of time here, and that thinking about it, we've been talking about exercise, getting out, walking and everything else. But some people, hopefully the restrictions are going to be lifted soon and we'll be able to get out more. But in the meantime, what can people do at home? What practical things they can do that they can start to move into this area? Because you don't want to go and run a marathon tomorrow. You want to be able to train and work up to it. And so in that, Scott, that you took 6 months to get yourself up to that level. So it wasn't immediate, I'm out of bed from going running. So it was a case of, well, what can they do now that starts to get this moving so they can do it gently, so that all these things start to come together. They're not going to get a flood of emotions coming through and other things. What can they do in the home at the moment?
Well, I'm happy to lead if you like, because as a ex-PT, it's an easy answer for me. And I've got 2 girls, so when you've got kids, you're not thinking about yourself; you're thinking about the collective. So you've got to be a bit more creative. And at the moment, we've got drives. We can do interval runs up the driveway. We've got classes at home. I have to say, actually, Les Mills classes during this time have been fantastic, and they're free. You can stick those on the TV, and we just got a nice wooden floor space in the lounge where we can dance and move to classes, and keep that energy. And the other option is we run with the dogs. So there are always opportunities for exercise around us. It's just really it's thinking a little bit naturally.
So what are you doing at home at the moment, Scott?
Oh, it's funny. I'm actually working on building my communities. I'm working on the emotional side that I can get the physical side up and running when it's time. Because, look, I'm still running. I'm poorly at the minute, but I'm riding a lot with my son, just getting out with him. Marcella got a new bike, so that's been good. But the biggest thing for me is just that connection with people. So I'm trying to I've started, which you were part of Monday night, which I'm grateful, Cornish Dads Chat, so it's building up the emotional so we can do the physical, because it is all interconnected, So I did a half Ironman with no training at all, just to see if I could do it.
Did you break down?
I am not somebody to just ignore most of what I say when it comes to physical exercise. Because I apologise. Heather's going to slap me, I think.
You've definitely got a cross on it. I can see it.
Just a proof that everybody's different, and somebody's a bit more different to everybody else.
Yeah. Oh, but look, if you're emotionally well, you're physically a lot better. So, which is what the whole conversation's about. So.
How about you, Heather?
I think that's really.
Oops, you just silenced yourself again.
Oh, I was unmuting and you were unmuting.
No, I wasn't. I just
okay.
You must have hit it twice.
I don't know. Anyway, so I think there are, again, we're all on a spectrum of where we sit, and I've probably been at the extreme. I've been at the extreme, and then I've bounced back to the other, and then finding that, because I'm Scott 30 years later, the pendulum swinging, and finding that easier flow. And one of the biggest things is I see people who haven't done any fitness, they join a boot camp, and within 6 weeks, they will have injured themselves because they're not fit enough to do stuff. And so then they don't rehabilitate properly. It takes 6 weeks to heal, 3 months to remodel, 12 months for soft tissue to turn over. So one of the things that I will invite people generally is to, and it's not something that I used to do, but is to bring grace and ease into, if you haven't been moving a lot, don't go and try and run a marathon. Like, walk around the block. And for me, having had knee replacements, taking me an hour to walk around my large block. And I'm walking with my daughter and my dog. And then I have to be really, really patient, because I'm like, it should be taking me 30 minutes to get around this thing. And the reality is that when we're building up strength, then it can take time. And if you push too hard, then you will injure. So again, finding that retrusting your body, reconnecting to your body, retrusting your body, and knowing that for growth, we need to push a little bit more. If you push too much, which I did when I joined a gym, tore my tummy muscle in the first 2 weeks, couldn't do anything after that because your core is attached to everything. So yeah, listen and trust your body, and just walking, as you say, get your feet checked out, and then walking if you're just starting, because we can't get in the pools and things. So that's a good way to start, or a gentle bike ride.
Excellent. So again, it's being, get everything together, with your thinking, your physical and everything, but don't rush it. Plan it out, take it easy, get the right support, not only in your orthotics and other things like that, but also supporting the people around you, and take it easy. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say, and you don't have to go from whatever you are today to super fit and everything else tomorrow. It's a process, and doing it in gentle ways, but be gentle on your body, which at the same time being gentle on your emotions as well, taking it easy on the way through.
I just think people could start with watching this, because like, quite seriously, you're sitting here, we're all sitting here, and we're all listening to each other. We're getting emotionally connected, and we've all gone, okay, great. I need to pick up on that physical attribute. I actually need to do that for myself. So
yeah. We may also give it a bit of I'm worried about some of the impressions that we might give to people as well, because Heather, a moment ago you said to Scott that you are Scott in 30 years. Well, Scott, I was going to say that now you know that in 30 years you're going to look a lot better than you do today.
Oh shit! Hang on a sec. Where is it? I'm going to video.
Brilliant.
I'm going to choose video settings. I'm going to take off my touch-up makeup.
Yep.
And I'm coming back. Right? Where am I? Okay. Now, how much better do I look with the touch-up?
You're definitely not Heather in 30 years now.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm going back to touch-up.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, guys. It's always fun. We started out laughing before we started the talk. We've been having a bit of fun through it, but also a lot of great ideas and wisdom and experience being put into the conversation as well. So Heather, Scott and Jonathan, thank you very much for being here. And to everybody else who's been listening in, I hope you got a lot out of it. And again, as I always say, these guys are there. They're easy to find. They're tagged into these all these panel discussions. Any other panel discussions you like as well, connect with the people, have a chat with them, build some relationships in the process, and that's where you get a lot of your answers for the questions you got today. So again, guys, thanks very much for being here, and to everybody else, we'll see you on the next Campfire Project panel discussion. Bye for now.
Thanks, Al.